You're watching Pitch Up with the Pates, and join us today as we take a look at the caravan that started it all off for us, the Swift Freestyle S4. It's a Loudon's dealer special, so join us as we take a look. Okay, we'll start with the lounge area of this Swift Freestyle S4. So the Freestyle S4 is based on the Sprite Alpine 4, which is a compact fixed bed caravan. It is a 4-berth and it has a French bed at the back, which we'll have a look at a little later. So this is where it all started for us. We started with the Freestyle S4, a 2021 model from Loudon's in Nottingham, and that's where we sort of found the passion for caravanning in the hobby. So we know this caravan really well, and we really enjoyed using it. We've had some great holidays in the Freestyle S4, so I thought I'd just show you this caravan if you were interested in looking for one of these yourselves. The unique selling point of this particular caravan is the fixed bed design in such a compact caravan chassis. So it is very compact. A lot of people, when we were out on site, used to be surprised it actually had a fixed bed, and they assumed it was a 2-berth. But we'll have a look at the exterior and the rear bedroom area of this caravan a little later. So the lounge area was plenty big enough for us, 2 adults and 1 child. They are relatively compact front seats, as you can see. So the front sofas are relatively compact. However, we never found an issue with it. We had people come over and visit, and 4 adults could sit on there comfortably. On this 2023 model, you can see that the curtains have gone. So as with the other Swift products, we now have these fabric wall panels, which I've said in previous videos we were initially dubious about in our new Conqueror 580 not having the side curtains. However, we haven't missed them. We genuinely haven't had an issue not having those. So you have got those fabric panels instead of the curtains, but you do have obviously the blinds, and they do look smart in an evening, when we've had no issues sort of with the aesthetics. You've got the fly screen pulls down, and you can have obviously any combination of the two. You have got the curtains in the front still. With this being a dealer special, it has got different fabrics to the Sprite Alpine 4. This Freestyle S4 has got upgraded upholstery, which we really like. Really lifts this caravan. So the front area makes up into a double. It's the slat style bed where you pull out and then you move the cushions across to make that double. Really easy, similar with other Swift products. We've never found an issue with it. Really easy to do, and then it just slides straight back. Just have to make sure that it doesn't catch as it goes through, and it falls back down and back into the lounge seated area. There's no front chest, so no front storage area in this Swift Freestyle S4. It does have a front table which pulls up, so a useful area there for putting your drinks We just put snacks on there, what have you. Our son used to draw on there, play games. And then on the front there you have got a little storage just for placing things on that front shelf. However, there is no power on that front shelf area, so you wouldn't be able to place a TV, for example. There's no aerial, no power. You have got the closest power socket, a 230 volt below, and 2 USBs. So you could put something up there, but it would obviously trail. You wouldn't be able to manage the cables particularly well. So that's a shame. It would be nice if there were some sockets maybe somewhere on that front shelf. However, the closest point is below, so we used to charge our phones there, for example, tablets and what have you. Just to the side you've got the PIR for the alarm. This has got the alarm and tracker fitted. With it being a dealer special, it has got upgrades. And then you've got one of the exhaust vents there, the air vents for the blown air Truma central heating. So it is a compact front lounge, but it has most of the things that you need. One of the things we like about the new models is that you get these USBs above. So you haven't got adjustable spotlights, but you do have spotlights underneath that are switched from one side. You can't isolate them individually, but you've got really useful USB charging, so great for phones, etc. You could either have the cables just hanging down, or you could perhaps tuck them into the storage cupboards above. So you have got lockers above in this lounge area. No shelf in there, but relatively good space. We really liked these corner units. We found these really useful because they're a good size, as you can see. And unlike the base camp, where there is actually no front cupboard, it's just got an open shelf. These have got the lip, and they are they have lockable cupboards as well. But that would have been nice to see on the base camp, or even just this lip on the base camp, so you could store things on that shelf. And that is replicated on the near side, exactly the same. Again, no shelf in there. And then if we go across, this one's got a slight intrusion there with the stereo. So since 2022, the Sprite range, including dealer specials, have the more basic control panel. I know some people prefer this. It is very easy to use, but it hasn't got the Swift command, and I do feel that it is a loss to these caravans. The Swift command is so innovative. Really find it easy to use, love the features. It is a shame that they've dropped that from the 22 models onwards, but I guess it sort of gives an incentive to step up in the range. You've got to go for at least the Conqueror or Elegance to pick up that Swift command system. So rather than having the radio on the Swift command, you now have the DAB in the vehicle style, car style radio that's just at the top of that cupboard there. Got a good sized sunroof in the front, and just behind it, before you get to the kitchen area, you've got a Heki roof light. So the front of this caravan is a very, very light place to be. We really like that about this particular caravan when we owned it. So during day and evening, we had the Swift command in our 2021 model, so we were able to really sort of set the ambient lighting in an evening. And although it is dimmable on this model, as I've said, it doesn't have the Swift command unit, which is far more customizable. You've got the speakers above there for the radio, a couple of lights. But yeah, that is the front lounge area. Moving into the kitchen area of this Swift Freestyle S4, you've got the under-counter Dometic fridge freezer. It's very familiar seen in many sort of Swift products. We looked at this in the base camp range recently on our channel. You've got stainless steel sink above. You now get the included washing up bowl that fits the sink from Swift, so perfect fit there, as you can see, fits really flush. Usual domestic style chrome tap, so we've got a mixer tap there, 2 lockers above. You've got some plate and cup organisers in there, and you've also got the controller there for the solar panel. With this being a dealer special, it does have the solar panel fitted. It's the new slimline version that are now being fitted to the Swift products, so it is much lighter than the previous solar panels used. And then you've got a big open cupboard just to the side. So yeah, plenty of space. We never found an issue with regards to storage. You had to make sure obviously you were organised, make sure everything was stacked away, but yeah, we didn't find an issue with that. Just to the side, you've got some open shelves. They have got a slight lip on, which is useful. We didn't store anything on here whilst we were travelling, but we did find this useful once we got out on site. We tended to put sort of our mugs up there. We kept our keys on there, sometimes phones, etc. It was quite a useful space, but it isn't particularly useful whilst you're travelling, because things obviously will fall out. You wouldn't want them falling out on this glass cooker top. So just go right the way back into that corner. You've got just below them the Thetford oven, grill, and 3-burner gas hob above. So this hasn't got an electric hot plate, as it is based on a Sprite model. So we didn't actually realise that was an issue until we started using the Conqueror, which has got an electric hot plate, and we really find that useful. So it would be nice to see an electric hot plate on these models. However, these are built to a price point, so I guess I understand that, but it's something now that we find really, really useful and that we do use in the new Caravan. You'd only get the one shelf in the ovens, so we've purchased an extra one. Makes it more usable, which I think most people do. You've got plenty of storage to the side, so we tended to keep a lot of our cleaning products in here, just under this cupboard. So we managed to get a plastic box that fit in there, so if anything leaked it wouldn't go down onto the floor. And we've got a small tray there for storing things on, and then we really like this good size pull out cutlery drawer. So we thought it was great, the fact that it's concealed. Yeah, you've got to open the cupboard to get to it, but it just keeps it neat, tidy and out the way. You've got your wheel arch in there, a little bit of an intrusion, so there's not too much space at the bottom, but if you organise it well, there is plenty of storage. And just below the Thetford oven, you've got a drop down flap and a small storage area where we used to keep our pans, so that's quite a useful piece of storage there. And you've got your main dining table just to the side in that space, so not too far to pull it out, really easy to access, and not too far to pull it out to get to the lounge area. We very rarely use that table, to be honest. We just use a side table and trays. You've got the new style microwave in the kitchen area now, so there's no longer a plate on there, which is great. One less thing to worry about when you're in transit, so that's good to see. And then in regards to power, you've got two 230-volt sockets just above that kitchen worktop area, above that shelf. And then you've got this here where you can basically, it just pulls off and you can manage your cables through here. So we had a Nespresso coffee machine just there and a kettle, and then the cables just go up the back through there and into those sockets. So really useful, keeps things neat and tidy, makes a huge difference keeping the cables out of the way. And then you've just got some power there for the lights in this area. You've got a couple of spotlights just underneath for the kitchen worktops, which looks good lit up at night. If we just spin behind, then you've got your main wardrobe. So this is the main sort of clothing storage area in this caravan. So it's very central. One of the great things about this caravan that we found when we were towing is a lot of the weight is over the axle. So the kitchen area, where you tend to store things in those cupboards, in the fridge, and also in your wardrobe. This sits directly above the axle, which we found was great in terms of balancing up the weight on this caravan. So huge wardrobe area. So it is a shared wardrobe, but that's not an issue because of the space you've got, particularly when you're hanging large coats in winter. There's no issues whatsoever in there. You've got the shelf, so you can store things on top, and then below we tended to store all our shoes in there. We even got the Avtex TV case in there as well. It was a good place to store it with all the shoes pushed against so it didn't move whilst we were travelling. Got your aerial and your Vision Plus TV amplifier there as well, nice and neat, tucked away. So that was a real bonus with this caravan, the fact that this wardrobe storage area is over the axle, and the fact that it's huge, lots and lots of storage, so we didn't find any issues with that. The only thing we perhaps would have liked is another storage area additional to this, perhaps for clothing, etc. And I'll talk about that shortly when we go into the bedroom area. But yeah, that's a real bonus of this caravan. Big wardrobe and its location as well, so real positive. So let's go toward the rear of this caravan then, to the bedroom area, and then we'll take a look at the washroom. So this is potentially the selling point of this particular caravan, the Freestyle S4, based on the Sprite Alpine 4. It's this fixed bed. So in a caravan that has an overall length of 6.45 meters and an MTPLM of 1284 kilograms, so just under 1300 kilograms, you get a lot of caravan here. And it's very, very easy to tow as a result, as we found when we were towing. It's a really, really nice caravan to tow, behaves very well. So it's the French bed, which we really liked, and one of the reasons we liked this was because obviously it's compact in terms of the overall size of the caravan, so you get a good sleeping area in a small caravan design, but also it was the storage that you had underneath. Now you have to obviously be careful what you are storing with it being at the rear, in terms of balancing out the caravan. However, this was a great space for us to put our table and our two chairs. So we had two Isabella Thor chairs under here. We had our Isabella Shadow sun canopy, and we had a Dometic waterproof table stored under there. So not too much weight, so it didn't impact the towing of the caravan. However, really useful space. Another bonus is that we didn't have to carry it through carry the items through the caravan. It's got a access point there, so a external locker access point, so it was very easy to load everything up into the caravan in whatever weather. So sometimes it might have been raining, but it didn't matter. We just used to stick it through the side locker, put it in the caravan, and we weren't getting the caravan dirty and wet. So real bonus with this. We actually kept the spare wheel under the bed as well, and even with the spare wheel there, we had lots of space to fit those items, and there's nothing there to be damaged by them either. So the ducting for the blown air Truma central heating is just to the side behind the spare wheel, so that's well out of the way. But yeah, great selling point to this caravan. 6.4 meters or 4.5 meters in length, overall length, and having that fixed bed with the storage underneath, absolutely fantastic. So that was something we had to consider. when we upgraded our caravan, we wanted something similar in terms of the storage, which is why I went for a transverse island bed, because that had a similar amount of storage, which was closer to the axle as well. So in terms of balancing out the weight of the caravan, even better still. We didn't find the cut-off an issue. French beds seem to differ from manufacturer to manufacturer, from caravan to caravan, in terms of how far that cut-off goes. It's not actually that aggressive on this particular French bed. Some of the French beds you look at, the angle comes across quite aggressively, whereas this isn't too much of an issue at all. So I'm 5'10", and I didn't find an issue. I slept on this side, and I didn't find an issue with my feet hanging over. So I don't particularly think that with this Freestyle S4 or the Alpine 4, the Sprite, that would be a problem, unless you're particularly tall perhaps. I know there's options available now in terms of add-ons that sort of can fill this space, and they sort of can fit on the edge like a little bit of a slither of mattress. I genuinely don't think with this particular caravan design on this Freestyle S4 that would be something you'd have to consider. There is storage above in those overhead lockers. We used to use these, but to be honest with you, they are a little awkward to access, and I think that's the case with most of these French bed designs, because you have to actually step onto the bed and shuffle down into the area that you want to get to these cupboards. So we used to use them, the lockers, but we wouldn't put things we needed to access regularly in there, just because it wasn't as easy to get to. But I'd rather have the storage there than not, that's for sure. You've got some open shelves there as well, which are lipped, so it's always good to see that. If you're going to put open shelves, make sure you've got a lip on there so things don't slide off, if you did want to keep things on when you're traveling. I find these really useful. Obvious place to put a cup of tea, which I did, or coffee. Also you can put your phones on there, so again, something that I did. You've got spotlights above. These are individually switched either side, and then you've got that same USB charging point with a twin USB, so you can trail your cables onto the side, charge your phone. So really useful to have that power at the back. That's great to see. You've got the Hecky roof light above, so again, as with the front, really bright, spacious place at the back of this caravan, despite its compact dimensions. No curtains in this model, from 22 onwards. You've got those fabric wall panels, but you've got those blinds, so it's not going to be too much of an issue. They're going to black out most of the light in an evening. And also with the roof lights in this caravan, they have got blinds and fire screens as well. In terms of the placement of a TV, this is the sort of designated area. It's double boarded out, put a bracket on there. You have got the 12-volt socket, TV aerial, point, and two 230 volts. They are turned to the side as well, so that's in the right configuration. They weren't in our caravan. I had to change those around myself because you couldn't fit two plugs in there because one would foul on the other. So that's good to see. They're the right way around. And we had a Vision Plus bracket on here that basically spun round onto the other side, so you could watch it from the lounge, or you could watch it from the bedroom area. I think our TV is 22 inches, it's an Avtex, so it just sort of came out to here, so you could still get by to the bathroom, to the lounge area from the bedroom with no issues whatsoever. Anything bigger than that, it probably would start to foul up on the roof space there. But that's the designated place for the TV, and at least it's out the way, it's neat, it's tidy, and if you manage the cables correctly, it looks really good. You've got a blind which separates the kitchen area from the bedroom, so we used to shut that in an evening. Just keeps it neat and tidy, keeps the light out. And then you've got a curtain which basically pulls across, which separates the bedroom area from the rest of the caravan. So really simple, and with that blind down and this across. It separates the two areas. Just put that back up. If we just spin round to the side, I really like this, the fact you've got the sink just outside the washroom, so you've got sink and storage underneath. So that's really useful space, good deep shelves as well on there, which we found really useful in our Freestyle S4. Nice big mirror. Got the usual tap that you'd expect to see in these Swift products. Shelving to the side. Again, not particularly useful in general, but when you're on site, I generally put sort of my glasses, contact lenses on here, sunglasses. You know, you might put your phone on there. It was good for just putting odd items that you didn't know where to put. Basically, you wanted easy access to them all the time. But yeah, there's no lip on there, so it's almost like a space filler. But yeah, I did find them relatively useful. Just maybe a lip, or maybe if one of them was a cupboard, perhaps at the top or the bottom. But we did use those, but they have got limited usefulness, I guess. Just because you can't keep things on there, you must remember to take them off, which we always did. Spotlights above, and then you've got a rope hook to the side, and you've got a towel hook to the side of the sink, and your light switches there for the bedroom area and for the washroom, which we'll look at shortly. So yeah, this was really useful. The reason I like this is just because you just have to wash your hands quickly. I didn't want to use the kitchen sink. This is slightly deeper. It was much better for that. I used to use this for putting my contact lenses in. So it was, you could just get out of the way basically. And it was in the bedroom area as well, so you haven't got too far to go. Found that really convenient. Wasn't sure when we first got this caravan whether or not I'd like that being in the bedroom area, but actually there's real bonuses to it, real pros to it. Not an issue whatsoever. If you have got doubts about that being there, I would rather it be there than in the washroom area. Just, it's great to see it separated, as we've seen with some of these integrated washrooms where you've got sort of shower, the wash basin and toilet all in one wet room. Everything's got to get wet through. You're gonna have to dry it down, whereas with this being separate, just really helps in terms of using that shower. You've got less to worry about in terms of getting wet. So yeah, that's a real bonus with this. So that's the bedroom area. Really nice area for a compact caravan. Huge selling point to this particular caravan. It's the reason we went for it. Let's have a look at the washroom. Okay then, looking at this washroom area, it is a wet room style, or it's a wet room in style. It's got these new marbled grey or marble effect grey panels that Swift are using on their 2023 models. Looks absolutely great, really like that. It's very stylish. Huge upgrade on the white walls that they used prior. This makes it feel more special, a bit more boutique. So that's a really good improvement by Swift. You've got the shower then to the side. It's Eco Camel Head shower with the control just below. Everything's sealed. It's quite a large shower tray, so I had no issues using that space at all. You've got the toilet to the back. So this very slight raised platform, only an inch and a half. Toilet roll holder to the side. You've got some shelving above, so we used to keep towels on there. We used to keep our wash bags as well, so if we went to use the showers on the on-site facilities, we just grab the wash bags from above and a towel. And you've got the shower curtain that just goes round, stops the toilet from getting wet, stops that shelf from getting wet. So it is compact, and it is possibly the greatest compromise in this caravan. However, we found no issues with it. It wasn't the reason that we upgraded the caravan to the Conqueror 580. We just wanted more space in general. It wasn't because we found any issues with this washroom, with this shower room. So if this is something that you're concerned about. Having used this caravan on lots of holidays, we generally use the on-site facilities, and when we did use this particular washroom, shower room, we didn't find any issues whatsoever. There is possibly one or maybe two things that I'd probably like to see an improvement on. One of them is the fact that the roof light above, although it's great to have and it does open, it doesn't have a blind, which is an issue in summer. So we used to find, you know, you'd go to the toilet at 5 o'clock in the morning and the whole caravan would be blacked out, and you'd come in here and it'd be really, really bright. So that is probably one negative, is it'd be good to see in there a blind, but I don't think that spec of Hecky roof light that size, I don't think they are available with blind. You don't generally see them, so maybe that's the reason. Maybe it just doesn't come with a roof light of that size, with it being quite compact. And the other consideration is the fact that this particular caravan has the Truma blown air central heating. Really good, gets really, really hot very quickly. So we found that now we've got the Alder wet central heating, although it is probably more stable in keeping the temperature at the same level throughout the day, it does take a couple of hours to heat up, whereas this particular caravan, within sort of 15 minutes or so, it gets up to whatever temperature that you want it to be with the blown air. It's fantastic, really, really great in that respect. But there's no heating in the toilet area, so it's not a major issue. But what, again, with the roof light, you know, same sort of thing. You would be in the caravan, we'd be away November, sort of last year, before we swapped the caravan to the Conqueror. The caravan would be probably set to 21, 22 degrees, really, really toasty. You come to use the toilet and it'd be literally like stepping outside, because there's no heating in here. So when the door's shut, if you keep the door shut, which you probably would do, the air temperature in here does drop quite considerably compared to the rest of the caravan, because there's no vents that connect to the central heating. So that was a downside. So if you want to use the toilet, you know, you do feel that temperature drop when you come in. And in summer, as I've said, because there's no blind on there, it is very bright if you're coming to use the toilet sort of early in the morning, and it's dark everywhere else, and it's almost like there's a spotlight above. So they're the only two considerations. It's not in the functionality of the washroom itself. I just think they could be improvements that would really make this a fantastic caravan all round. So yeah, let us know what you think. If you've had this caravan before, if you've got this caravan, you're looking to buy this caravan, would that be an issue for you? But yeah, it looks great. Really, really nice looking washroom. And a good size too, as I've said, good size shower tray in there. So I had no issues with elbows banging and what have you when I was having a shower. Now we've concluded the internal overview of this Swift Freestyle S4. Let's go outside and take a look at the exterior. So taking a look at the exterior of this Freestyle S4, you can see it's got the Alco ATC. It's got the Alco hitch head stabilizer, so already you can see it's got a good spec. It's got the new black carbon effect front gas locker, which really sets off the Sprite range now. It's a great addition to these caravans, really gives it a more premium feel. It's got the new graphics for 2023. You've got the 230 volt external socket, so that's part of the dealer special pack. It doesn't come on the Sprite as standard. You've got the external gas point, really useful on that near side corner. Storage to the seats at the front on the near side. Got the LED light above the door. alloy wheels. It's got some information there on this Freestyle S4. You can see the extras. This is priced at 23990. It has the ATC 100-watt solar panel, external access door to the seating at the front, external barbecue point, a 230-volt main socket. It's got the upgraded upholstery inside, and it's also got the alarm as well as part of the special edition pack, this dealer special. Got the cassette toilet to the rear. That did pose a little issue for us, reason being that obviously sits within any awning that you might consider. So when we were looking at awnings for this particular caravan, when we owned it, we had to accept we either go beyond it and you include the cassette toilet within your awning area, or you'd obviously measure off just before. So there are lots of awnings available for this caravan. It's not going to be an issue, but you have to consider whether or not you want a full awning, which is going to obviously integrate the cassette toilet, which could be an issue, or you want it to fall just before that, which is what we actually decided would be the best option. You got the provision there with the 2-lay bike rack, if that's an upgrade that you wanted to go for. Something to consider if you are putting weight in the rear of the caravan under that French bed. You're obviously going to add extra weight there if you're going to be hanging bikes off the back as well. So on to the offside, you've got that really useful underbed storage locker there. It's probably the most used locker, external locker on this caravan when we had it. As I've said, we put our table and chairs under there. Anything that you want to access for outside, have easy access to. Got the fridge vents on the right side. So by right side, I mean they're not on the awning side, which is good. You've got the locker here where your battery is stored, and that's where you'd plug your caravan in to the mains electric, just in there. And then you've got your water inlet there where you'd connect your aqua roll, and the exhaust area for your Trumer central heating. So that's the Swift Freestyle S4. We really enjoyed owning this caravan, and it's the caravan that actually got us into the hobby, and we wouldn't have the Conqueror 580 if it wasn't for the Freestyle S4. So we've got some real fond memories of this caravan. Hopefully this overview has given you a good insight into what this caravan would be like to live with, some of the features that we've enjoyed, and perhaps things you might not have noticed from looking at other reviews. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Are there any other caravans you'd like us to look at? Anything that you'd like us to do an overview or a review of in the future? Please let us know. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.